Good morning everyone, and I'm happy to welcome you all once again to my biology class. In today's zoology class, we will be learning the continuation of chapter 3. What is chapter 3? Chapter 3 is Kingdom Classification 2, right? What is that? Classification of animals. So in our previous two classes, we have already studied about the classification of invertebrates in detail, right? So what are invertebrates? Invertebrates are group of animals that do not have a backbone. So that is invertebrates, right? About that we had studied already in detail. In today's class, we will be learning about vertebrates. What are vertebrates? Vertebrates are animals which have a backbone. So all the animals in this world which all have backbone are all put into the group called as vertebrates. Okay, so about that only we are going to learn today. So let's get started. So this chart you must have seen before two classes. When I was teaching invertebrates also, I had displayed this chart. Okay, so if you remember, it's okay, but I'll tell you again. So vertebrates are totally of 5 groups. Vertebrates are of 5 groups called as fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals. So what are the 5 groups of vertebrates? Fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals. So all these 5 groups, as I told you, they come under the group vertebrates. So obviously all of them are going to have backbone in them. Okay, so usually studying about the characteristics of invertebrates are comparatively hard because most of the invertebrates are insects or aquatic animals which we do not see in our day-to-day life, right? But vertebrates is easy to learn because all these groups we mostly see in our day-to-day life. Fishes you have seen, right? Frogs also you have seen. Snakes you must have heard at least, or in zoo at least you must have seen. Birds we see daily and mammals also we see daily, and of course we are also mammals. So studying about these characteristics is going to be so easy for you in today's class. Okay, and this is the last part of the lesson. With this the lesson ends, that is the animal classification lesson ends up with this topic. So in today's class we will be learning the characteristics of each of these 5 groups in detail. So let's start. So first we learn about fishes. Okay, so fishes generally they are called as pisces. So what is the technical term of fish? Is a general term, right? Generally when we speak we call it as a fish. Okay, so technically or scientifically fishes are called as pisces. Okay, what are fishes? Pisces. What are the characteristics of fish? As I always tell you, if you need to learn the characteristics of anything, you should just imagine the image or the picture of that animal or a group of organisms so that you can write their characteristics easily, right? Do not memorize any of the characteristics of organisms. Please just register the picture of the animal or the organism in your mind and start describing its characteristics. So seeing this fish, what all you know, how can I describe its characteristics? So first, what is the habitat of fish? What is habitat? Habitat is the place where the organism lives. Where do fish live? Fish lives in water, right? So it is called as aquatic. What does aquatic means? Aquatic means water. Aquatic means water. So fishes live in water. Which water? They can live in sea water, they can live in oceans, as well as they can live in fresh water. What are fresh water? Fresh water means the water which is not salty. These are all salty waters, right? Sea water and ocean waters are salty in nature. They have so much of salt in them. Fresh water example you can give like lakes, ponds all. Have you seen fishes in lakes? And even at your home in a fish tank also you have fishes, right? So fishes, some fishes can also live in the normal water, that is the water what we drink all, no, in that water also they can live. They are called as fresh water fishes. So fishes habitat include both marine, that is sea water and ocean water are called marine water, as well as in fresh water. So what is the next characteristic? How can you describe its appearance? They are scaly. What is scale? See, you can see such structures, no? Usually when you peel off, if you have seen your mother cleaning the fish, you must have seen some transparent or white color, round material like this, no? Where is that? Can you see here? These are the scales. So fishes are called as scaly, and then they are streamlined. What is this word streamlined? It may be new to you, I guess. So streamlined. So streamline means it will have less resistance to either air or water. What does this mean? Which means it can easily glide along the air or water. Say for example, for fishes mostly it is water. When it swims in the water, there is less resistance, which means it need not try so hard to swim against the water, because it has less resistance, that is it can easily get along with the flow of water, or even in the opposite direction of the flow of water it can get along without creating friction. So if there is so much of resistance, there will be friction, and the organism will be finding difficulty to live there, no? It is streamlined, which means it is less resistant to water. In the case of birds, all no, birds do not come under pisces. I give you an example. Birds are also streamlined. They are streamlined in air, which means in the air they are less resistant, or they can easily travel through air. Okay, that is most comfortable for them. So fishes are also streamlined in water. They can easily move about in water with less resistance. What is the next characteristic? Next characteristic is fishes can swim. Okay, so all animals cannot swim, right? But fishes can swim. That is a unique characteristic of fishes or pisces group of organisms. Then they have gills to breathe. Where is the gills? Can you find here inside? You will have gills. Okay, like this fan like structure. Have you seen? Like hand fan, a structure will be, if you open this, no, you can see the gills. So that is the gills, and these gills are the ones which help the fish to breathe. Okay, we breathe through the nostril, that is the nose and the lungs all, no, but fishes breathes through gills. Okay, then what is the next characteristic? They are cold-blooded animals. This term is also new to you, cold-blooded. And one more type is there, it is called warm-blooded. Okay, what is cold-blooded and what is warm-blooded? Cold-blooded means, see, suppose if the temperature outside is cold, my body will also become cool. Okay, the body of the fishes will just fluctuate depending upon the temperature of the environment. But for human beings all, no, all mammals are warm-blooded. Why warm-blooded? Because at whatever temperature you live, even if you go to Switzerland or if you go to a desert, okay, wherever you go, the temperature of your body is going to be 37 degrees centigrade, okay, because you are warm-blooded and your temperature will not change according to the temperature of the environment, okay. But in the case of cold-blooded animals, their temperature will change according to the temperature of the environment. Suppose if the sea water becomes very cold, the fish will also become so cold. If it is so hot, the temperature of the fish's body will also be so hot. So it is called cold-blooded organism. And there are two types of fishes. Okay, there are two types of fishes called as, depending upon the presence of skeleton. I told you already, it comes under the group vertebrates, which means they already have skeleton. But some fishes have a soft skeleton and some fishes have very hard skeleton which is made up of bones. Okay, What did I tell you? In fishes, there are two types of skeleton. Some skeleton are very soft. It is called as cartilaginous fish. What is that? Cartilaginous fish. And in some, it is very hard and it is called as bony fish. So depending upon the nature of the skeleton, whether it is soft or hard, fishes are classified into two types called bony fishes, which have a very hard skeleton or bone like skeleton, and cartilaginous fishes which have a very soft bone or soft skeleton. Example for bony fishes, rohu. This is the image of rohu. You must have seen this in the local market. Okay, so rohu is this fish. And the shark also, you know, right? You must have seen in pictures all. So shark is an example of soft backbone fish. It has a very soft backbone. So this is all about the group Pisces. So what have we studied? Fishes are technically or scientifically called as Pisces, and they live in more aquatic environment. Aquatic means in water. Okay, so in sea, ocean, and also in fresh water, and they have many scales in their body, and they are streamlined with less resistance to water, and they can swim in water, and they have gills to breathe, and they are of two types called as bony fishes and cartilaginous fishes. Bony fishes have a skeleton bone and cartilaginous fishes have a soft bone. The examples for them are rohu and shark, and also fishes belong to the group of cold-blooded animals. So this is about fishes. So next we will study about the next group. So there are 5 groups now. The first one we have done. What is the next one? Amphibians. The word amphi means to. What to? We learn what is it. They have the property of living both in land and water. Okay, so what is their habitat? Where do they live? They can live either on the land or in the water. That's why it is referred as amphi. That is, it has two properties of living, either in land or in water. Okay, we cannot live in water, right? They have the ability to live in both land and water. And what about their body? They are moist. See, it is not dry. Usually it is like a sticky or slippery in nature. The body of frog, no, this is frog, right? So it is moist in nature, and it is slimy. Slimy means it is sticky. It is not dry. It is like having some water on it, which is sticky in nature. So they have a slimy skin. The skin is slimy and moist. It is not dry. Okay. And then what property? They can breathe. See, whenever they live in we cannot live in water. See, suppose if we stay underground, so not underground, underwater for 5 or 10 minutes, what will happen? After some time we cannot hold on the breath, and water will try to enter through into our nose and lungs all, no? But why frogs alone can live in water? Will not water enter into the mouth, or how they will breathe inside water? So all these doubts you will be getting, right? So when they stay inside the water, they breathe through the skin. Okay, they are not using their nostrils or lungs for breathing. Whenever a frog is inside the water, it will use its skin for breathing. Okay, and whenever it is outside, like the human beings, it will use the lungs for the breathing purpose. Whenever they are land, they breathe with the lungs, and whenever they are underwater, they breathe with their moist skin. Okay, so this is a peculiar property of frogs. And then they are also just like fishes, they are also cold-blooded animals. What did I tell you? What is cold-blooded? If the temperature of the surrounding environment changes, the temperature of the frog will all the amphibians will also change accordingly. So it is called cold-blooded organism. And their life cycle is of 3 stages. Okay, what are they? Larval, tadpole and adult. So the life stage of a frog or amphibian includes larval, tadpole and adult. In this larval stage, no, it will appear like a worm. It will appear like a small worm like structure. In tadpole stage, it will appear like a fish. Okay, in tadpole, the frog will appear like a fish, and then a mature adult will look like this. So in the life cycle of frogs or amphibians have 3 stages: larval stage, which is in the form of small worms, and tadpole stage, which is like a fish, and adult stage, it is fully grown up. So 2 examples are given: frogs and salamanders are examples of amphibians. So what have we studied about amphibians? Amphibians habitat, it is called amphi because it has 2 properties. One is it can live on land, and the next property is it can live on water, and the body is moist because the skin is slimy in nature, sticky in nature, and then they can breathe through their moist skin when they are in water, and they breathe through their lungs when they are in land, and they are also included under the group called cold-blooded animals. And the life cycle of frog has 3 stages called larval, tadpole and adult stage, and examples for amphibians are frogs and salamanders. So that is all about the group called as amphibians. Next we learn about the group called as reptiles. This picture given is the picture of garden lizard. It is called as garden lizard. So whatever crawls, mostly like snake or lizard, these 2 are usually common to you, right? So whatever crawls in the on the ground mostly come under the group called as reptiles. Okay, so the typical example what I am going to explain today is about the garden lizard. So what are the characteristics? Where can you find garden lizard? Mostly in the terrestrial environment. Terrestrial means land and aquatic means water. Okay, but sometimes I told you snake also belong to the kingdom called this group called as reptiles, right? So snake can also, some snakes you can find in water also, right? So mostly they are terrestrial, but sometimes a few of them are aquatic, which means mostly they live on land, but sometimes or some group of organisms alone have the ability to live in the water. Okay, so this is the first property. And what about their body? It is so dry. In the previous group, amphibians group, what we saw, it is so, the body is so moist and slimy, right? Whereas in the group of reptiles, it is so dry in nature, and just like the fishes, you can also see scales on them. Can you see scales? So these are all scales, right? So just like the pisces group, the reptiles group also have scales on them. And then what is the next property? They can breathe through their lungs. They have lungs for breathing, similar to human beings. Reptiles also have lungs for breathing. And then the last property is they are also cold-blooded animals. So in all the 3 groups whatever we have seen now, that is the group amphibians, pisces and reptiles, all the 3 have cold-blooded nature. Okay, the next 2 groups what we are going to see will be having warm-blooded. Okay, they are warm-blooded animals. So it's very easy about reptiles. Only these 4 properties are given in your textbook for your levels, since you are actually, there is so much to learn. Okay, as you go to your higher grades, you will be learning more in detail. Okay, for now this is enough. What is given? The habitat of reptiles are mostly on the land and sometimes on the water, and their body is very dry and they have scales on them, and they breathe through lungs, and the nature is they are cold-blooded animals. The temperature of the body changes when the surrounding environment changes. So this is all about reptiles. So what else is left behind? You have mammals and birds, right? Mammals and birds we will be studying. So just like how fishes are called as pisces, I told you in general life we address the fishes as fishes, but technically it is called pisces. So similarly birds also, generally we address the birds as birds, but technically or scientifically it is called as aves. So what are birds called? Technical term is aves. Okay, so what is the speciality about birds? They fly. Only birds can fly, right? All other groups of organisms cannot fly. Only this, have you ever thought why this group of organism alone has the ability to fly? You will be learning today. Okay, so why they fly? Let's see. Okay, before that, they are habited. Where do birds live? Birds live on mostly on the branches of trees, right? So mostly on trees, and their body is streamlined. When I was talking about the group called pisces, I already told you streamlined means less resistance to either air or water. So in the case of fish, you can tell they are less resistant to water. So see, in this also the characteristic is given as birds are streamlined, which means the birds are less resistant to the air. So when they fly in the air, the air does not cause friction or discomfort to the bird. It just get along with the flow of air very smoothly. That's why it is called streamlined to air. Okay. So what is the next property? They can fly. This is the unique nature of birds, right? Why they can fly? Because their bones will be hollow. Inside it will be empty. Okay, there will be space between the bones, and this makes their body very light. See, our bones all, especially for mammals, even when you eat chicken or beef or mutton also, you can find you have many stuff inside the bones, right? So we even eat that, right? So the bones, I tell this example because you must have seen inside the bones while eating, right? So what you find, there are many substances inside, okay? But in the case of birds bones, no, it is hollow, and because of this empty nature of the bones only, the bird itself is very light. And whenever you fly a kite also, you make it with some light material like newspaper all, no? Why do you make it light? When it is light only, it can fly in the air. So similarly, because both birds have hollow bones, they can also fly in the air. So this is the peculiar property. And usually the limbs, you call the hands and the legs, no, it is technically called as limbs, 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 okay, hands or legs, you call it as limbs. But for birds, how many legs are there? There are only two, no, there are two limbs, and the other two limbs are modified in the form of wings, okay. So these are also limbs. So the legs are two limbs, and two of the limbs are modified into wings. So that's why it is called as forelimb modified to wings. What is forelimb? Fore means front, okay. Hind limb means it is at the back. So the two forelimbs for the birds are modified into wings. Okay, this is one more peculiar character for birds. Then what else? I told you already, birds and mammals are alone warm-blooded animals. That is, even when the temperature of the surrounding environment changes, they have their stable body temperature. Their body temperature will not change. So they are called warm-blooded animals. So what have we studied about birds? Birds live in trees and they are streamlined to air, okay, less resistant to air. They fly because they have hollow bones and their body is very light in nature. They have two forelimbs which are modified into wings, and birds are also warm-blooded animals. So that is all about birds, and the last group we are going to study is about ourselves. That is, we belong to group called as mammals. So mammals, example for birds, all the birds come under this group only. Examples given in your textbook is sparrow and pigeon. Okay. So next group, mammals. So what are the unique characteristics of mammals? I told you already, human beings also come under the group called as mammals. What are the special characteristics of mammals? Where do mammals live? Where do you live? You live in land, right? We have terrestrial habitat, that is, we can live on land, not in water. We are not aquatic, we are terrestrial. And then what other property? Okay, only mammals have the ability to give birth to young ones. Say for example, birds, can they give birth to their young ones? They give birth but not directly, they just lay eggs, right? But in the case of mammals, directly they give birth to young ones. And the next property is mammals alone have fur or hair on their body. All other groups of animals mostly don't have. And two pairs of limbs. One pair of limb is the forelimb. The front two legs is called forelimb and the back two legs are called the hind limbs. Okay, they have two pairs of limbs. For human beings, how you can address the limbs? You can call the hands as forelimbs and the legs as hind limbs. Okay, so this is about the two pairs of limbs. And one more property, okay, this I didn't explain you. See, whenever they give birth to their young ones, they have a special gland called as mammary gland. And this mammary gland is a unique feature only for mammals, because only mammals have this mammary gland. What is the function of mammary gland? Mammary gland is used for feeding their young ones. Okay, mammary glands is used to produce milk and the milk is consumed by the young ones which is born to the parent. And the last property is they are warm blooded animals. I told you, no, only birds and mammals have warm blooded. See, wherever we reside, wherever we go, either at the top of a hill or in a desert, every time our body temperature is gonna be only 37 degrees centigrade. It will never change. And how do we breathe? We breathe through lungs. So this is all about mammals. So what have we studied about mammals? We are terrestrial in habitat, that is we can live only on land, and mammals give birth to their young ones, and whenever they give birth, their mammary glands can produce milk, and the body of mammals is covered with fur or hair, and we have two pairs of limbs, two forelimbs and two hind limbs, and mammals are warm blooded organisms and we breathe through lungs. So this is all about the group called as mammals. So that is all for today's class, and we'll get into the homework part. Okay, examples for mammals are human beings, cows, dogs, cats, whale and bear. Okay, see, this is important to note. Whale is not a fish. The spelling is wrong in whale. W-H-A-L-E is whale. Okay. See, usually many think whale as a fish, right? So whale is not under the group called fishes. It is under the group called as mammals because it can also feed their young ones. Okay. So next about the homework part. Yeah, for today's homework, see, on 18/9/2020, you will have an online test through Google Forms. I will provide you, and for that you have to get prepared by reading page numbers 59 to 65 from your biology textbook. Okay, so I will be providing notes, but just for you to develop the habit of reading. See, for every lesson I am going to give you two tests. Okay, the first test will be on your reading skills. Okay, you will read the page numbers what I give you, and from that I will ask you one word questions like multiple choice questions. Mostly I will ask you, or fill in the blanks type of questions. Okay, so you will read these pages and attend the test. The next test, after I provide worksheet for this lesson. Okay, I will be providing in few days. So after I provide worksheet with question and answer solve, I will give you second test on the same lesson where you have to write short questions at least, or definitions like that I will make you write. Okay, so for the upcoming test on 18/9/2020, you have to read pages 59 to 65 and your test will be on this. And for last week's homework, Darren has given me the first right answer, and the answer is, actually it was from page number 63, question number 4. The correct answer for that is honeybee. So congrats Darren. And that is all for today's class, and until I meet you in your next class, you all take care and bye bye.